Good morning, Money Vikings. Money Viking G here. Welcome to the Money Viking Coffee Hour. Wanted to share a couple of key highlights and points from the Davos, World Economic Forum thing, when the world's masters, the world billionaire masters that basically own and control everything, descend into Switzerland at the swanky resort there and talk about the state of things in the world and how things are going. I laugh a little bit, I chuckle a little bit inside because, this is a middle-class wealth building channel. So I want to share a perspective from that perspective and sort of, again, what we can do as middle-class wealth builders in light of all the stuff and all the turmoil and all the things just churning in the world. So the mood from Davos, I think, was a little bit odd, a little off. It seemed a little tone deaf. It's partly because, you have to realize the people that are going there are literally so out of touch with what the reality is for 98% of the world. So sorry, it can be a little farcical and comical at times. Some are very much in touch, but they focus on such a macro level that it feels kind of lost in the woods. So, I am a big Ray Dalio fan, so I always like his take on things and how he sees things playing out on the macro level. And so you have to realize, you can kind of feel it from the Davos outtake, is that we are kind of on the precipice of some kind of like structural breakdowns here. There's a breakdown in kind of the world order as we know. There's a situation where the national debt of the United States is about to hit some crazy number like 38 trillion or plus, where paying the debt on paying the interest on the debt is going to now cost more than the actual, I think, annual budget of the whole country. So that just to me seems insane, and to many people. So there's these weird, sometimes there's efforts to get that under control and they're done in like a haphazard way. Other times there's a total ignorance of it and put your head in the sand. But for what is a middle class person supposed to do that's trying to preserve and build wealth, right? So I'm starting to look into sort of Armageddon investments, things that can withstand the test of time. And, you are going to you've seen it already, things like the flight to gold. I still believe Bitcoin is supposed to be another one of these types of assets, but in a digital form, where it is supposed to hold its value. Now, in a way, you could argue it has. It sits at around 88, 89,000. It's not what we thought it would be at this point, but still, that's 90,000 a coin. That's something that has gone up very well over the last 10 years. So there's also things like hard assets in addition to gold. I will still always go back to real estate. I think that real estate is not that sexy. It's not get rich quick, but it's something tangible. It's something that is usable. It has utility for humans. It has cash flow that can be produced from it monthly, and it can appreciate in value. So to me, it is a good thing if it's done right. Now, over leveraged, not knowing what you're doing, going in and not realizing how much work it takes with tenants and repairs and maintenance and all the costs of taxes and insurance, et cetera, et cetera. It's like running a small business. So it's not a simple get rich quick thing. It takes, frankly, I think it takes 10 plus years to really start making pretty good money at it. So there's that kind of stuff too. Now, there's also investment vehicles and ETFs that will invest in things like rare earths and mining and defense contractors, defense companies, right? So that's another way to diversify your portfolio in kind of a end of the world, quote unquote, Armageddon. Now, I'm doing this kind of tongue in cheek. Do I think it's the end of the world? No, I do not. I am going to be forever an optimist about humanity. I think that we're going to pull through. I think we're going to make things better. But the problem is, along the way, it's always a bumpy ride, it just seems. There's war, there's conflict. Humans have a tendency, countries have a tendency to kind of do the right thing after exhausting all other possibilities and putting their head in the sand and ignoring a problem. You have problems of large groups and bureaucracies that cannot move quickly enough. They're not efficient enough to address real problems. We have huge income and wealth inequality that is probably beyond anything we've ever seen in humanity. So, there's reasons to be pessimistic, but there are also reasons to be optimistic. So, countries will grapple with problems, they will grapple with things, and they will get their houses in order. And you, as an individual middle class wealth builder, can also get your house in order. You can make sure again, what I basically preach are strategically diversified portfolios. What is a strategically diversified portfolio? Well, the core of it is a bread and butter portfolio of your S&P 500 stuff and some bonds and some real estate. But around the edges, I like to make strategic moves to create more ballast and more defense. So, that is things like Bitcoin. That is things like strategic ETFs that are going to answer the times that we are headed in or the times we are in. Adding some gold, that kind of stuff, right? So building that portfolio. There'll never be a perfect portfolio. There never will be. You have to do the best you can with what you know now and how the world works. Understanding how the world works, understanding debt cycles, understanding business cycles, understanding the booms and busts of economies and how things go up. Then people get too excited and they get drunk and the party's over, and then there's a recession. Then it builds back up. Things get too crazy, too frothy. The party's over, recession. You have these things. I've lived through now. I'm middle aged, and I've lived through I feel like I've lived through like 4 of these things that have just felt like, geez, like 9/11 and the Great Recession and COVID and the housing crisis and the wars and stuff like that. It's just, and there's all kinds of other, things that are always happening. But you have to have a portfolio that's sane, right? And can kind of work through all that in the best way it can and provide a return to you so that you can compound your wealth. So anyway, thanks for joining me at Coffee Hour. Best to all you. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I got the book coming out pretty soon. I'm going to be very excited to be sharing that with everyone. And I really appreciate all you subscribers and all you folks who tune in. Thank you very much. Bye.